New owner has to assume responsibility of that quiet title action or whatever was pending on the chain of title.
Right.
So that's why a lot of times it's risky
Yes. Yeah.
when you do a flat rate MLS listing, because it's kind of careless. That's like going to an attorney and hiring the paralegal.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. And welcome back to The Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh. Thank you for joining us. And welcoming to The Closing Table, we have another top producing real estate agent. We are excited to learn about his market. We want to welcome Sam Hindo to the show. What's going on, Sam?
Oh, thank you for having me.
Hey, good. Thank you for taking time out your schedule, busy schedule, and accepting our invitation to be a guest here on The Closing Table. We always appreciate that, Sam. So I'm very, very curious and interested about your market. I want to get into that, but first, I cannot ignore that I do have a human being right here across the table. So we want to get to know you, Sam, in 60 seconds or less. Can you tell us who you are outside of real estate?
Sure. I basically, I'm like an investor. I came in the business more of like as an investor, trying to, take in deals as much as I can, learn about the different markets, and, practice real estate while I'm doing investing. And I just, I built a passion for it because I've seen people, win a lot of money doing it. So that's like kind of who I am outside of real estate. And I, I'm very, athletic. I go to the gym a lot, and I like to live an active lifestyle. I don't like to be at home. I like to be interacting and out and about.
Nice.
And going to networking events.
Yeah. Say that last part again.
And going to networking events.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like I said, a very outgoing personality. You like to be out around people. Like you said, you like to be active. Seems like a very a fun person, fun guy, Sam. So perfect. All right, so let's talk about where before we get into where you are, let's get into what you do. That's what I want to do. Describe your real estate business for us, and if you are able to hit on a few key points, how long you've been licensed, any notable achievements, and what you would consider your specialty or niche.
I've been licensed for about 4.5 years. And I mostly do the Wayne County, Detroit market. And I would say like my specialty is investment properties. And, I just fell into that market by accident. It was just something that I was intending to do. So, I really, really enjoy it. And it's pretty easy if somebody's going into the business to find, new business, because investors are always looking in a market like Michigan. The market is like all year round. So it's like the investors they're not like, oh, during December time, let me not buy a house. They're always looking for homes to purchase. So it's really, really good for somebody that's like new to the business. So like just find somebody that's always looking for houses. That's how I got in the business.
Interesting. I like that perspective. I never thought about that. So it makes sense with regular residential, transactions. You are, for the most part, you're trying to match a buyer and a seller together, essentially. But when you're getting into the investments or the commercial properties, you're essentially dealing with people who are looking ultimately to make a return on their investment. So people are looking to do that year round. So and I completely understand it now that you put that in a good place for us. So, all right, thank you for breaking that down. Let's talk about where you are now. I want you to describe your current market. And this is like a two-part question. First and foremost, describe it geographically. What state you're in, city you're in, notable landmarks, attractions, things to do in your market, how you would describe the culture, and also let's get into the weather. We'll talk about all those individually, please.
Yeah, I'm located in Michigan, southeastern Michigan, and my market is like Detroit, greater Detroit area.
Right,
And
right, right.
notable attractions, like we have like, the Riverwalk is the #1 Riverwalk in the United States, actually. And
Mm,
that's like the main thing when people come from out of state, come in Michigan from out of state. I always tell them you have to go to the river. And I was like, just, Port Huron is a really good place to go to during the summertime. It's actually the closest beach to Michigan. Well, the closest really like nice beach to go to. Um, I would say like, Traverse City, Mackinac Island, um, you know, so many places to
right,
go
right,
to in
right.
Michigan. But of course, there's more activities during the summertime
Hmm.
versus during the wintertime because people are cooped up at home. They just there's not that many things to do except just I guess you go to coffee shops, like that's where I meet a lot of my clients. And yeah, it's just Michigan's a very interesting place
Absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely. I would definitely agree. Me being a native in Detroit, I agree with everything you said, especially during the winter time. A lot of people we're cooped up in the homes. We're so used to
Mhm.
the cold blizzards and the 6+ inches of snow that we may or may not get. But what I will say also, what I do like in the down, and you could probably speak to this, what I like in the downtown Detroit area, they're starting to add like winter events
Yeah.
down there. They're starting to add different things that you can actually do outside with your family in the wintertime. The ice skating rink, the big
Mhm.
holiday tree that they like. They have different like shops and ice sculptures. So I
Yeah.
do enjoy that also. But then that's an acquired taste because
It is.
some Metro Detroiters still want to just stay inside during that cold. So I get both
Yeah.
perspectives.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are from Michigan that they own homes in Florida and they go
Mm,
during the winter time to Florida, but it's always the people who have the means to do it. The average
correct.
person in Michigan, they're not like, hey, let's buy another house in Florida. They're probably worrying about how to pay groceries.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's only reserved for like those people that have like a very healthy retirement plan and they can afford to do it. And I've seen people like it's like very right when they usually leave September 1st and come back like March, from what
Okay.
I've seen. Like right when it starts
September
to get
1st.
cold.
Yeah, that makes sense. From the fall till about the start of the springish, kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah, it
We
makes
call them
sense.
the snowbird.
Yeah, yeah. I would do the same
Politically
if I
called.
had the means. Just like you said, if I had the means, I'd do the exact same
Exactly.
for sure. Okay, so I want to talk about the economic statistical data in your market now. We talked about describing the market, the culture, the weather.
Uh-huh.
What's going on real estate wise? You have any average data, price points, days on market? How do things in your market looking that
So
way?
the average house in Michigan is on the market for about 76 days before it gets sold.
Wow.
And it's usually pending on average 8 days after 8 days. So
Okay.
the houses go quickly here. Um, but the top investment markets right now, one of them is Berkeley, one of them is Inkster, one of them is Dearborn Heights, one of them's
Hmm.
Auburn Hills, and I believe the other one's East Lansing. So those
Really?
are the top markets you want to get into if you're looking to make, the most amount of money for your return on average,
I am
typically.
I am a little bit shocked about the East Lansing one, considering that being not just a college town, but like a major college town. It's one of the major colleges, not only in Michigan but in the country. And you say that's one of the hot spots for investors in investment real estate, correct?
Yeah, it's because of Michigan State University.
Ah, it's specifically because of that. I would have thought the opposite, but that's interesting. I get it though, right? College students, they want to come up there, they live in there, they're either living on campus or they're living off campus, and 9 times out of 10, they're more than likely renting. So I could
Right, right.
100% understand that. Yeah. Okay, okay, good. Thanks for providing that perspective with us with the days on market. Real quick, I want to ask about that. You said the average days on market in the entire state of Michigan, correct, was about 76 days, 78 days. What did you say exactly?
76.
So how has that number changed since the beginning of the year?
You know what? It goes up and down
Mm,
depending on the the season. So if you're not in the busy season, like let's say you're in the wintertime, it usually the average is longer. Like it goes closer to 80, maybe even sometimes 90, depending on the month. But it's compiled between all the months. So 76 is the median amount on the market. And you know, it gets the houses in Michigan are very it depends if it's a cash deal or a mortgage, and the reason why it's 76 is because it's a mortgage. If all the deals were cash, it would be much lower. But that amount of days on the market is well, before it sells, is because of a mortgage. That's how long it usually takes maximum, I would say, like 76 days.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And like you said, that's probably average. You know, that's given some transactions are probably a lot more smooth. They'll probably go through a lot quicker, but then some, you have some hiccups in the process where the closing date or whatever the case may be pushed back, unfortunately. But okay.
Right.
Thank you for providing that insight. You specialize in investment properties. With that being said, it's a lot more detail when it comes to the numbers and the analytics. All right, so can you explain your approach to property analysis, including key factors you consider when assessing the potential return on investment for a property?
Yeah, I see the street that it's on, and I usually research the street before I even, you know, think about investing in that area. And if the houses are going quickly on that street, or if it's an appreciating market, I will definitely, you know, try to see if I can get a good deal in that area. But typically it's in the areas where the houses are appreciating the quickest, and you can get them at a really low price. That's why Inkster is one of those markets that I was telling you about, because back in the day, Inkster, everybody was like, no, don't buy in Inkster. It's so rough, you know? And, you know, I was always telling people, even back then when they were like saying Inkster wasn't a good place to buy, I was like, just watch. When Dearborn Heights starts to get expensive, when Redford starts to get too expensive, investors are going to go look in Inkster. And I was right, because a lot of houses are going pending really quickly in Inkster. It never used to be like that back in the day. It used to just, I remember houses just sitting on the market, like nobody would even look at them sometimes. So you never know which market is going to become, you know, a really, you know, top-notch, quick selling market. So you really, you really don't know in real estate, but you can see the signs, definitely, but you never know 100% what market is going to pick up. And another one of them is Berkeley. Berkeley is right next to the luxury market, which is Birmingham. Berkeley is the luxury market, but it depends on what area you're in Berkeley. And a lot of the houses there, I see they're getting demolished, and it's a new construction, basically. So it's they're trying to find, you know, cheaper land around the luxury market and building these $1 million homes like Royal Oak. So it really the luxury market, they're trying to look for you know, places near it where they can buy cheaper land, so they can, you know, get a better deal on the land.
No, that was solid, because now that you say that, I'm putting that with other talks I've had with other agents in different markets. I think we're starting to see that more often with this low inventory situation going on, high interest rates. We're seeing markets that are usually heavily populated or just popular in general. They'll get to a point to where they're almost at capacity, or there's no more room to develop, and then you start to see the other surrounding areas start to pick up. A lot of people say nobody used to move over there into such and such town. Now you're starting to see people add, you know, new houses, new apartments, and stuff like that. So that's what I think we're starting to see a rise in nowadays. Now that you paint that picture for me in the Detroit market, I'm hearing that from other markets like Pittsburgh and Raleigh and things of that nature. So Thank you for providing that insight, because I had no idea about the Inkster or the Berkeley market specifically.
Yeah. You know, Inkster is not like the luxury market, it's more of an investment market. Berkeley's closer to like a luxury market.
Correct. I understand that. You stated that flat rate MLS listings are the biggest waste of money you can ever spend in real estate? That's a quote, by the way. So we got to talk about this. Explain what flat rate MLS listings are. And then I want you to share a story of a client who was interested in one possibly, but then you convinced them otherwise, or any other stories related to those, please.
Flat rate MLS listings are, they're basically when somebody pays you a flat rate fee, like $500 or $1,000. You list their home on the MLS, and basically you don't represent them. You don't negotiate for them. You leave their number there, and somebody, like another agent, will call the number and bring their buyer or an investor. So it's essentially a very limited service function. And it works better for rentals. It doesn't work better for sales. It works better for rentals because there's lower risk with rentals. But when you have a home for sale, the stakes are higher because, especially if it's a higher end area, the taxes, you need to get these houses on and off the market as soon as possible. And if you don't hire an agent that's going to know that market, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, 100% every time. See, and we state that because as an agent, you're licensed in the entire state. That doesn't necessarily mean you know the entire state. You know, like there's specific markets within that state that you probably want to be, or that you probably will be more familiar with than you would with other markets within that state. So that's very, very solid right there. But yeah, the biggest waste of money in real estate ever is a huge statement to make in that regard. But I believe the point that you made is pretty solid. I mean, would there for any reason like be a purpose where you should use a flat rate MLS listing?
No, I just think it's a waste of time. If you can pay $500 to put it on the MLS, then you can pay $500 to market it yourself go find your own renters.
Good point. Not mad at that.
And I'm not one of those people that are trying to make a quick buck. I'm honest. Like if somebody asks me for my opinion, I'll give them my opinion. And I had a client, he needed a flat rate MLS listing. And I told him, okay, I'll do it for $400. You know, I'm not going to say no. At the end of the day, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not one of those agents who wouldn't jump on it. Yeah, I would. But I'm not the type of person that's going to lie to you just to make money. So I did tell him, like, are you sure you want to do it? And he was like, yeah, we just need somebody to put it on the MLS for us so we can market it ourselves. And so people can just call the number, because he already had somebody that was going to show the property. So perfect. Because, you know, a lot of agents that I know don't like showing rental homes because they don't really make that much of a commission. So it kind of makes sense for them to do it as a rental versus like a sale. But I want to branch off your question about the time that I took in a client that did an MLS, flat rate MLS listing. He did a flat rate MLS listing, and the agent that represented him he's kind of popular. Like, you hear about him a lot, and he mostly works with wholesale deals. So like he'll take a wholesale deal, put it as a flat rate on the MLS, and he'll do it for the wholesaler for a flat rate price, and he'll just make the $500. So anyway, my client did that for 2 years. His house didn't sell. His house ended up being a quiet title action home. So that's not something that an agent would come in with their buyer and be like, hey, we want to buy this property. If it's a quiet title action home, you can only sell it on a quick claim deed. You can't sell it traditionally through a title company unless you have an attorney that's going to take on the case. So in that situation, what happens is you would have to do a private sale. And it doesn't go through a real estate company. It doesn't go through a title company. It would be a private sale. You quick claim deed it over to the new owner, and the new owner has to assume responsibility of that quiet title action or whatever was pending on the chain of title.
Right.
So that's why a lot of times it's risky.
Yes. Yeah.
When you do a flat rate MLS listing, because it's kind of careless. That's like going to an attorney and hiring the paralegal.
Good point.
You know, the paralegal is not there to give you legal advice. They're only there to give you
to assist the actual attorney. Correct.
Yeah, they do They go to the court, they file the case. But yeah, don't waste your money on flat rate MLS listings. Whoever's watching this video.
Good point. Good point. There it is. Well said. There's another place that you can usually go for great investment properties, and that's land banks. So I know you have a little bit experience there. Land bank properties are usually not the average, not for the average consumer. That's because, you know, it's a lot of work that goes into it. They're blighted. There's a lot of renovation costs. But what are some misconceptions about land bank properties? And can you describe a time when you helped a new investor navigate a land bank for a successful purchase?
I don't like land bank homes.
Oh, okay. Please explain.
And I'm not going to lie to somebody and be like, oh, you know, go buy a land bank house. No, because I bought my first land bank house when I was 25. It was the biggest waste of time. It was the most pointless thing I've ever done in my life because I ended up breaking even on the investment. They don't train you enough when you buy a land bank home to be able to make a good return on it. If you're a baby investor, that's what I like to call it. Baby investors are people who live in their parents' basement. They have a couple $1,000s in the bank and they're like, hey, let me buy a land bank home. And then they end up having to forfeit that home because they don't have the proper capital to renovate it and upkeep it within the 6-month allotment that the land bank gives you. So if you're watching this video and you don't know anything about real estate, don't buy a land bank home if you don't know what you're doing. The land bank is not going to hold your hand. They don't care about how much money you're going to make. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to have enough money to fix up the home.
Yeah.
So for your first investment, I wouldn't do a land bank house. I would just, there's nothing wrong with renting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good time to rent and build your credit and think about what it is that you want for yourself. You know, are you going to be living in the house? Are you going to use it as an investment? You know, don't just spend the couple money you have in the bank to put it to the land bank because you're going to end up losing more than if you would have just rented, saved up your money, built your credit, and picked a market that you were actually going to live in and invest your future in, you know? So the land bank is not for everybody.
Yeah.
So I say, and I'm very honest, more than a lot of realtors, I wouldn't touch a land bank with a 10-foot pole. even if they paid me, I wouldn't associate myself with them. Wow. They're lucky I'm even talking about them right now.
Yo, you are going off right now. I love it, man. This is the platform. Listen, that's gonna make a great clip. You said it like it was a person or something. If a land bank was a person. I'm so sorry.
They got the wrong one. You know, I'm from Detroit. We don't play around.
Sam, man, that was a great rant. That was a great rant. Okay. But listen, I'm glad you make that statement because Detroit is a place with land banks, and a lot of people hear about them, and you know, people from the outside here, yeah, you can get homes for like $1,000 or $100 on the land bank, not knowing when you come, you are getting some of the worst of the worst of the worst buildings in Detroit. So no, what I get it. Certain things are for certain people, maybe experienced investors. They don't care about the people of Detroit.
They exploit the people of Detroit.
Ooh.
Okay? And I don't want to go too deep into that, but it's a corrupt organization. They don't have, allegedly, they don't have a history of, you know, being the most honest people. Allegedly. Okay?
Hey, you're speaking from direct experience as a realtor who deals with it. So, hey, your word.
So do you want to associate yourself with the organization that you don't know if they have like the best intentions, or you don't know if they're doing things legitimately? No, especially if you're new to real estate. You know, you want to go to an attorney that, not an attorney, a realtor that qualifies with first-time home buyers, right. Not like a realtor that's going to be like, oh, they're going to take you to the most expensive home that you can afford that you're pre-approved for. No, if you're pre-approved for $300,000, you should be searching for homes that are between $150,000 to $200,000.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yep. The wrong realtor is going to take you to a $300,000 home and be like, oh, don't worry, we're going to pre-approve you, because they want to make a sale, you know? not every realtor is like that though.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, if you are a first-time home buyer, go buy a realtor that's going to, you know, be personable with you.
Yeah.
It's not just a transaction for them, you know?
Yeah. No, great word. Thanks for adding that. I want to add something else. New construction properties. I don't know what your experience are with new construction, but the thing about new construction properties, the fact that you know, a lot of times you're not able to tell what the long-term damages are or could be because it's a brand new home. Sometimes you're not able to tell what damages are or what they could be until a house has been around for a while, or you've lived in it for a while, you've run through the pipes, you've done certain things. So have you had any experiences where you had a client looking for a new construction home, but you kind of knew different things to look out for that could cause long-term damage or faults or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. For new construction, whenever I have somebody asking to go see a new construction home or, you know, a piece of land, the first thing that I tell them is the quality of the updates when they're buying a new construction home.
Okay.
Because not every new construction home has the top of the line updates. Right. They just kind of put like standard flooring. Everything is standard. Mm-hmm. Like you walk in there and sometimes, personally, I'm underwhelmed. And then sometimes you go into a new construction home and you're like, whoa, they went above and beyond. But then also that's reflective of the price. So when you're in the lower end, like 200,000 to 400,000, it's going to be more like standard updates. Then when you go like 600 to $1 million, it's going to be like above and beyond. So that's the difference. So my thing is, if I'm going to buy a new construction home, I want to be in the control of the process from the beginning to the end. You know, because I don't want to buy a new construction home, settle for standard updates or tiles that are not my color or my taste, when I could go buy something like what I'm saying is like the model homes, the ones that already have the stuff in them, versus the homes that are just being built. You know, you can work with the builder one-on-one, tell them what kind of flooring you want, what kind of paint you want. And if you want to go above, like even further than that, find your own piece of land, do it in an area where the houses are appreciating, where there's a good school district. Don't build a house in the middle of nowhere and think that, you know, 20 people are going to be jumping on it to buy it. You got to know where you're building.
Right.
So right now, a really good area for new construction homes is what I've seen is the Belleville market is actually doing well right now. Like a lot of the retirees are moving out to like, you know, the areas that are not a lot of traffic, like Wixom,
Romulus,
Belleville. Yeah. They're moving to places where there's not a lot of activity. So I would say if you're going to do new construction, do it the right way. Don't do it just because that's what's available and you're forced to go with that home. No, you can control the process from the beginning to the end if you are working with the right people and you have the patience for it. A lot of people are not patient. They want a house by April 1st, 2024. And if they don't get a house, they're moving to Florida. That's their mentality. So they put too much pressure on themselves.
Interesting.
That's the number one. Okay. The number one rule of real estate that I say when you're buying a home is don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Okay.
Because if the house is not there that you're looking for, you can't force it. You kind of just got to take a step back, relax a little bit, and then restart the search.
Yeah, 100%.
Because a lot of people get angry. They see a house they like on the market, they put all their marbles in that jar because they think we're gonna put our all into that house, and then somebody ends up beating their offer by $30,000.
Oh yeah. That would be disheartening. that would break me down. I get it. But then, like you said, hey, take the pressure off yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket type situation. And that's why they need professionals like yourself, Sam. That way they can keep that in the top of their mind, top of mind awareness whenever they are making that decision. Before we go,
I'll work with the client for 3 years. I mean, if that's what it takes to find something for somebody and they'll be loyal to me, I will go above and beyond for them.
Wow.
But The reason why, and then a lot of times the reason why these houses go for more than what they go for, what they're supposed to be going for on the market, is because people are not patient and they're always jumping on the nearest thing that's available. So I see homes going for prices. Personally, I look at it, I'm like, I don't know if these people know that this house is not going to be appreciating in the next 5 years. Like, they need to wait at least 5 years before they make a return. A lot of times people buy houses, they overpay for the houses, and then they tear out everything, right? They redo the whole home, and then they list it on the market for like $200,000 more, and then it just sits there because that area is not appreciating like that. You got to know where to put your money.
Yep. Good point. Good point. We spoke on this before, overvaluing your home to the comparables or the comps that's in that area, like doing way too many more upgrades and thinking that you're going to get, sell your home for $750,000, but you're in a $500,000 neighborhood. You need to kind of keep it scaled. So I love you adding that too. Before we go though, I want to know your perspective on this. I think this is $1 million question for an audience who are currently watching. Let's say for investors in the Metro Detroit market currently, let's say you are an investor, you're in the Metro Detroit market, knowing what you know now, the resources that are available, the information that's out there, what approach would you take to owning your first investment property today?
A savings account.
Okay.
You need a savings account, because it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer and you qualify for the MISHDA loan, where they give you your down payment assistance. It doesn't matter, because when you buy your first home, you're going to want to redo it to your liking anyway. And who's going to give you $2,000 for a brand new stove? Or, you got to think about, when you buy your first home, you want a brand new stove, you want a brand new fridge, you want to redo the paint, maybe redo the floors. How much is it going to cost? And you have to be realistic with yourself. So I would say the amount that I would say, if you're buying your first home, you need to save at least $30,000.
Ooh, $30,000. Now, what all would that $30,000 go towards, Sam?
It's just like living expenses. And the thing is, the reason why I say $30,000 is when somebody buys their first home. You know what I just said earlier in the podcast, where we put all our marbles in one jar? When I bought my first home, I was so broke, and it was an investment property too, but I was so broke that I literally had to rebuild my whole life again just because I bought that house. So a lot of people, they think, okay, let me save $10,000, and then they end up putting the $10,000 in the home, then they close, and then they're like, wait, we didn't save enough money for the groceries, so we didn't save enough money to do the paint. So people always underestimate how much money they have to save when they buy a home. Yes. That's why I say $30,000.
Yes. So you're not necessarily even talking about for a down payment or for a close call. You're just talking about for anything that may come up after you didn't close the home.
Correct.
Woo! That's a mic drop right there.
The whole thing. 30,000 is a good number. That's on the low end too.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. At minimum, 30,000. Thank you so much, Sam. You gave a lot of great knowledge here today. We appreciate you for pulling up a chair to the closing table. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell people how to reach out to you, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can reach out to me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Sam_Hindo_estates. And, if you're looking for an investment property, if you're looking for new construction, whatever it is, just reach out to me and I'll take care of you.
Perfectly said. Thank you again, Sam. We appreciate you. And for our YouTube audience watching right now, you got to this point in the video, do us both a favor and hit the like button, please, and thank you. Make sure you also share the content and subscribe to our channel. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And Sam, on our way out the door, I'd like to leave our audience with a question. So this is for you, audience. How do you analyze the financial reports and data to make a decision on purchasing an investment property? Share some of your gold with us in the comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you in the next episode.